Hello, and thank you for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras here with ILTV's Morning Briefing. Now, as the regional balance of powers continue to shift in the Middle East, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu is warning again that Iran is ramping up its malign activities. In fact, speaking at a press conference with United States Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin on Monday, Netanyahu says that Iran is developing and deploying guided weapons that can strike anywhere in the Middle East within a circumference of just 5 to 10 meters. And that includes, of course, strikes against Israel from positions in Yemen. So Netanyahu first thanked Secretary Mnuchin for the United States' efforts thus far, including military assistance to Israel and sanctions and anti-money laundering programs against Iran. But he also then encouraged the American diplomat to do a lot more to combat the growing Iranian presence, which Netanyahu calls the single greatest threat to peace, stability, and security. As for our own responsibility in the region, however, Netanyahu went on to call on Israel and the Jewish people to stay strong in the face of danger. Justice was served, but nobody feels the victory, as on Tuesday, Australian courts in Melbourne sentenced Cody Herman to 36 years in prison for the brutal rape and murder of Israeli student Aya Masarwa. Herman pleaded guilty for the crime committed in mid-January of 2019 and will have to serve at least 30 years of his sentence before he's eligible for parole. Well, Herman's defense attorney says that he should be given leniency, though, because of his mental condition and abusive upbringing, which were apparently contributing factors. Supreme Court Justice Elizabeth Hollingworth replied, however, that women should be free to walk the streets alone without fear of violent attacks, and so that while she's sympathetic, Herman's mental condition was all the more reason to keep him away from society. Masarwa came from the town of Baqa al-Gharbia in the north of Israel, and her body was discovered near a tram stop in Melbourne, just hours after being attacked and sexually assaulted. She'd been studying for 5 months as an exchange student at nearby La Trobe University as part of her education at the University of Shanghai in China, and Masarwa's father, Saeed, asks that his daughter be remembered as someone who loved everybody, regardless of their background.
So look at the people, doesn't matter which religion, which nation, which color, what is your mind. Look at the people, same level, same eyes. This is was Aya. She like all the people, all the human, doesn't matter where and when. This is I want to remember Aya.
The Masarwa family has also now launched a scholarship program for Palestinian doctors in Aya's name through the Project Rosanna organization, the Aya Masarwa Memorial Medical Fellowship. Now, it's raining again in the Holy Land, and while Israelis overall are grateful for the weather and the respite from the summer heat, the storms bring with them a deadly double edge that should never be taken lightly. That's why a Beersheba District Court is now charging 2 former employees of a pre-military academy with 10 counts each of negligent homicide, charges that can each invoke up to 12 years in prison. Also, prosecutors are charging the former administrators at the school with causing grievous bodily harm, all for their parts in organizing a desert hike last year that tragically resulted in the deaths of 10 teenagers. According to the indictments, the Bnei Zion group recklessly took 25 students on a hike near the Dead Sea without taking proper precautions and in spite of severe weather warnings. They even allegedly changed the path to a more dangerous route while assuring participants that there was nothing to worry about. But once the flooding swept in, 9 girls and 1 boy were killed. Shani Shamir, Elaor, Maayan Barhum, Yael Sadan, Tzur Alfi, Agam Levi, Romi Cohen, Gali Balali, Adi Ra'anan, and Ilan Bar Shalom. Then meanwhile, just this week, yet another young man was killed while hiking near the Dead Sea. The 21-year-old Jerusalem native Yerachmiel Yeshayahu fell from a cliffside in the Judean desert, and his body was located after several hours of searching, while 3 other hikers in his party were also lightly injured. The Israeli Defense Forces Regional Command is making national history this week in naming the first ever female chief intelligence officer for the IDF Central Command, which operates all across the West Bank. And she's been identified only by rank and first initial for security reasons as Colonel Nun. But it's not yet clear exactly when she'll be starting in her new role. First, her predecessors must be removed from their positions, as Nun's appointment is one of several suddenly announced on Monday, including the nomination of Brigadier General Eyal Harel, who's coming in to replace Brigadier General Shai Elbaz. Elbaz resigned just ahead of a report alleging multiple incidents of inappropriate sexual relationships between him and his subordinates within the military during his career. But regardless, Colonel Nun deserves her appointment, having joined the IDF in 2000 and going on to serve in multiple intelligence positions before today. That's all for now, so follow us on Facebook at Israel English News and of course on Instagram. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.